A Formula One car does over 220 miles per hour and 0 to 100 in under 3 seconds. It's poetry in motion, but it all starts with the manufacturing of around 7,000 components. At the McLaren Technology Centre, a 280-strong team are responsible for delivering those parts and ensuring the MP4 31 is ready to race.
I'm the Operations Director in McLaren Racing. That means I'm responsible for all the manufacturing, supply chain, quality and logistics of getting the parts to the race team. So fundamentally, we turn the ideas from the design team into the reality of the parts of the racing car. In terms of parts actually manufactured to date, we've stored just over 49,000 parts and they're all available to the race team. We don't take all 49,000 to every race, so we have to look forward, then the engineers have to choose which options they're going to want, and obviously we have to have spares. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting and fast-moving environment.
Manufacturing these parts requires a highly skilled workforce. F1 components are built using advanced machinery with materials ranging from carbon fibre for bodywork to metals for suspension parts.
For a pull rod end, it would probably make between 6 and 12. The minimum would be 6, because we need to be able to have 2 race cars, a set of spares and be able to service the parts. It was made of titanium. It's a really highly stressed part. It's been machined on a 5-axis lathe, quite a complex machine. They're brilliant for making complex parts like that. You can pretty much go from a bar to a finished part in one hit. A lot of the car, particularly all the suspension nuts and bolts and wishbones and stuff, it's all lifed. Because the parts are so highly stressed and we don't really want to be carrying excess weight around, we run parts close to the tolerance in terms of their fatigue strength than you would normally on a road car, for example. That's okay, providing you're really in control of the parts, so you need to know exactly what they've done, what loads they've seen. All the life parts in the car have a unique serial number, so we know every time the car goes out the garage, how many kilometres it's run, how many hours it's run, and all that's tracked back against an engineering document for that component.
Parts must be available for engineers to optimise setup at different circuits, and upgrades come online as the season progresses, but there's one component that they're constantly manufacturing.
Wheel nut's something that's evolved a lot over the last few years. Currently we're on T5 wheel nut, so that's the 5th iteration this year. We've made about 200 pairs so far. When the race team are here, we do pit stop practice twice a day with a real car, real wheel nuts, real wheels, full loads as you see at the track. So they do get fairly well used and abused, and eventually they just fail. We can't afford that in a race, so to take that possibility away, we always run with a new wheel nut set for every race weekend.
Component reliability is also a safety issue. In Fernando Alonso's accident at the season open in Australia, the crash structures all performed perfectly to protect the driver. However, the damage to the car had far-reaching consequences for the operations team.
Straight after the crash, we obviously talked to the engineering team about how we can recover some of the parts, and we pretty much put a plan in place over and above everything that was already loaded in the system. It's not just a quick 2 or 3 days, it's kind of affects you for a couple of months to recover from that. There has been a consequence, it has used capacity that we hadn't planned on.
With 21 races, the 2016 F1 calendar is the longest ever. For the manufacturing team at MTC, it's a year-round operation, and the pressure's never off.
It's just a relentless challenge, but the guys around are used to it. In a way, we kind of enjoy it as well, the challenge of being able to get through that and get to see the parts on the car. I think there is something absolutely unique when you make a finished product. Your connection between yourself and your workforce with the product is different than if you're just making parts for somebody. And when the product's a Formula One car that you can actually see racing, it's even better.